Know that we're here by divine appointment, that nothing happens by chance. And as I address our viewing audience, I welcome you to this moment at Interfaith Spiritual Center Worldwide, where we do believe that there is a power for good in the universe, and we can choose it. Our theme for the month is A New Day is Dawning. And our topic, our Sunday message is Consciousness, the Way Through. Consciousness is being conscious that we are all spiritual beings having a human experience. When we understand that we are spiritual beings, that we are in the world, but not of it. We are certainly in the world. We are in the world to live and love and laugh and weep and to have our human experience. But as our humanness gives way to the divine, the Christ consciousness arises triumphant and victorious. This consciousness is universal love. It is the Buddha nature. It is the holy I am presence. It is the opening, the space, to allow God to do what God does best by means of each and every one of us. In The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, he shares a story about a beggar sitting on the street, and a stranger walked by, and he put out his cap, and he said, "You got any change?" And the stranger turned and he said, "I have nothing to offer you." He said, "Oh, are you sure?" He said, "I'm very sure. What is it that you're sitting on there?" He said, "Oh, it's an old box. I've been sitting on it for years." He said, "Have you ever opened the box?" He said, "Why would I do that? It's just an empty old box." And the stranger entreated him and said, "Why not open the box?" And so the beggar thought, I got nothing better to do, so he got up and he began to pry the box open. And much to his surprise, this amazing energy of gold shone forth, that the box was filled with gold. And for 30 years he was out there with his cap begging, not realizing that right where he was the energy and the riches. And Eckhart says, I'm the stranger, and we say to ourselves, well, we're not beggars. But the truth is, if we are not in alignment with our spiritual integrity and who and what we are, that there is no amount of money that's ever going to fill the hole in the soul. That when we are whole, perfect, and complete, we are spiritually grounded, and everything comes forth out of that. Money is a byproduct of consciousness. It is a concrete form of substance. So when we understand that everything is a byproduct of consciousness, and people say, well, it's just not fair. Well, nothing's fair. Everything is by right of consciousness. And as we develop a consciousness, as we see through the contractions, the appearances, the effects of life and come out on the other side of them, rather than collapse ourselves at those moments where we think nothing is going right, and realize, there's something for me to learn here. There's an opportunity for growth, to go within to the secret place of the Most High, to pray to our Father, Mother, God in secret, and to be acknowledged openly by the outward demonstrations of ourselves. And as we find more of ourselves, there's a beauty in that. There's an energy of that. I saw a bumper sticker. It said, auditions, inquire within. That be yourself. No one is more qualified. And as we begin to let go of the layers of stuff that we've acquired through the years, the protection, the armor, all of that stuff that we've gathered through the years, as we begin to absolutely peel away to the truth of our being, there is an amazing energy in that. The story of the creation gods, when the universe was being created, got together. And they thought, we have something so precious. And we just can't give it to man and woman. We've got to hide it. They've got to work for it. So the first creation God said, I have the answer. We'll take it and we'll hide it at the deepest part of the sea. There man will never look. And the other God said, well, man will devise inventions and he'll get to the bottom of the sea and he'll find it. And the second God said, I have the idea. I know, we'll hide it on the highest mountaintop. There man will never find it. And the third God said, well, man will devise other things and he'll climb the mountain and he'll find it. And this is something so precious. This is the touchstone to reality. We need to hide it, really in a very safe place. And the third God said, yes, I have it. We'll hide it within man. There he will never look. And energetically, we can look here, we can look there, but the kingdom of heaven is within us. The kingdom of life, of the energy in the universe is within us. That when we realize that there is one life, that life is God's life, that life is perfect, and that life is our life now, that we are co-creators with the energy of the universe. And the universe is unfolding as it should. That we're all sitting on this box of gold. We don't realize that we got to get off our assets and look within to the secret place of the Most High, to be prepared in that knowingness. And I ran into someone at Wednesday Night Live, and he said, oh, I haven't been there for a few years. And I said, I don't really recognize you. And he goes, well, maybe it's been more than a few years. I said, well, I've been here 12 years as of September 1st. And he goes, well, I just wasn't doing well, and I'd gained a lot of weight, and I wasn't feeling good, so I stopped coming. And I said, that is the ego. The time that we need to go to be in spiritual community, which I believe deeply in, is when the times when we are not feeling good about ourselves. To be acknowledged that we are in the right place, and that when we take ourselves with us and we sit ourselves down and listen to that we are all created in the image and likeness of God. And we may be feeling really, horrible and not feeling good about ourselves, but we need to drag ourselves in here so that we can hear the message of enlightenment, the message that allows us to move off that place to the next level. And as I thought about that, I thought, we all have our little vanities, but it's when our humanness gives way to that divinity that we come forth. I remember one Sunday morning I woke up, my lip was like out to here. I needed a root canal, and I knew, I sort of put it off. You know how we do when it's about the dentist. But I love Dr. J. Jorgensen. He's a wonderful dentist, but you know how we are. And so my lip was out to here, and I thought, who can I call? My God, look at me. I got this fat lip. This is terrible. I'm a Leo. We're a bit vain. So I just, I just thought, what am I going to do? As I put stuff on it, but it's still huge. And then I just thought, all right, I'm sure that my people would rather have me show up with a fat lip than not show up at all. So just get over it. So I gave my talk, and, people were kind of looking at me in it that way, like, what happened? So I said, I did not get this fat lip from a fight, and I just explained that I thought you'd rather have me show up with a fat lip than not show up at all, right? And just moved past it. Because in the human scheme of things, we all have our moments. And when we have those moments energetically, we got to get past them. And I believe so deeply in community and being where the two or three are gathered together, that there's a third greater mind. There's the synergistic mind of God that arises out of the group, out of the community, where the whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts energetically. That we're all subject to the human condition. We all have feet of clay. And we all go through our own experiences. But as we keep on keeping on, we begin to engender a sense of mastery, where we are not at the effect of every little thing that shows up in our lives, because there is a divine plan. The only way out is through. That consciousness is being conscious of everything in our lives and taking responsibility, not beating ourselves up, but taking responsibility for ourselves. That this is shown up for me to go within, to learn and to grow and to unfold in miraculous ways. That we are here on the planet by a divine appointment. We're supposed to be here. And when we get it, that to be in the world is to live our lives, to have our experiences, to have the breakdowns for the breakthroughs and the falling apart so it can fall together at a higher level. When we get that, something miraculous begins to happen inside of us, and there is what Eckhart Tolle calls presence, that we have a sense of our presence. And then suddenly all the gossip, it doesn't come to us. And if it does, and I want you to know, when gossip comes to me, I just say, that isn't my experience of them at all. Let's do a little spiritual treatment about it. And a spiritual treatment is a positive prayer of alignment where we go within and we speak our word, knowing that everything is unfolding as it should. And let's just say a little prayer for them. Let's have compassion for the situation. Let's realize that every loving thought is true and everything else is a call for healing or help, regardless of the form it takes. And it's interesting, because as you begin to grow and the energy begins to grow, people, places, and things seem to leave your life. And when that happens, when that happens, there is a greater energy that is arising. It is a higher vibratory frequency. So we have to just let it go. And as we let go and let God do what God does best energetically, and we have to ride the wave, and sometimes it's very, very difficult to release people that we love, and we want them to be with us. But people have to go where they need to go. And we're going where we need to go. And a space is created for aliveness, for beauty, for wisdom. And as that space is created, it is filled with a higher consciousness. And we find that we're no longer talking about the same things, that we're no longer gravitating to a lower vibratory frequency, that there is an energy within us that only wants to forward and advance what's working, what's life-giving and life-affirming. When we realize that, it's amazing how things shift and change. So today, as we're looking at consciousness the way through, that when the mind starts its little chatter and looking outside and, oh, it's so awful, and isn't it sad, and isn't it this and that? No, it's creating a space for something wonderful to happen. And when we get that, and we let it go, then the energy comes rushing in. And it's just pressed down, shaken together, and flowing over into every single area of our lives. We cry our tears. We have sadnesses. It's difficult to let go. But as we let go, a greater energy arises. One of my colleagues said, it was always hard for me to let go. Everything I ever let go of, I left claw marks. So, sometimes we're just hanging on for dear life. We don't want to let go. And when we finally let go, there is an energy that arises. And through that energy, the consciousness, the Buddha nature, the holy I Am presence arises through that energy, and it goes before us and prepares the way as we become a lamp unto our own feet. As I was leaving the spa the other day, Michael, who's one of the spa attendants at the front desk, he said, "Oh, Dr. Sharon," and he took my arm and he said, "One of our very favorite members took his own life. We just heard about it a little while ago." I could see he was teary-eyed. "And why would he do that? Why would he do that?" And I said, we can never judge another person's action. We can only send them love and compassion. And we never know what another soul is going through. And that when my sister took her own life, I realized that this body is very dense and it's heavy. And sometimes we don't find our answers in this lifetime. Sometimes it's in the light body. So we can never judge another person's decision to leave the planet. It's not up to us to judge that. It's to love them and bless them on their way, knowing that the angel of light reveals to them what they are, and today they may be that. And there's a beautiful statement about, I tear down the walls of opinion that separate my brothers and sisters from me. I set them free from the projection of myself so I may see them as they are. I will not measure them with the yardstick of yesterday, for perhaps in the night an angel of light revealed to them what they are, and today they may be that. So we can never judge another human being. We can only acknowledge that there is an energy for good in the universe that's moving through us, and that everything that comes up, there is a divine plan. And I believe that about my sister. And when I had her ashes on my little altar, and I would talk to her, I felt that she got it at such a deep level in her light body. And when you feel this energy, you can really release and bless them. And I was the older sister, and this is the week that my mother and sister, they were up in the mountains, and they took a wrong turn, and they went way up, and they were leaving Las Vegas because they were broken into, and they were attacked, and my sister had her upper femur broken, and my mother had her pelvis broken, and it was a very vicious attack, a robbery, a burglary. And so they were going to start a new life. And so they got up, they took a wrong turn up into the Caliente Mountains, and they were there 8 days and 8 nights without food or water. On the 3rd day, my sister was a drug addict and an alcoholic. She tried to talk my mother into taking her own life as well, because she said, this is going to be a terrible death. And it was like the sun beating down during the day, and they were like getting sunburned in the car, and it was freezing at night. So on the 3rd day, my mother called out my sister's name, and there was no answer, and she went and saw that my sister had inhaled carbon monoxide. It was there, and she had passed. So my mother was there for 5 days with my sister's body. And on that day, she said, she just looked up, and she just said, God, what is this? You won't take your living or your dead. I need to just let this all go now and know. I just need to know and have a sign and an answer. And she said at that point she heard a gunshot. She called out for help. 2 young men went up that high in the mountains so they wouldn't be caught by the rangers hunting out of season. They had no idea what they were going to find, but they found my mother and my sister's body. And this young man in his 20s said, I am a religious man. And this was up in St. George, above in the mountains in Utah. He said, I am a religious man. And what I know, what's been revealed to me, I must be the saint, he said to my mother. You are the angel, and your daughter who has passed away is the angel who guided us to find you. And then they wrapped my mother in a blanket, and they gave her drops of water. And the sheriff came up, and they got the coroner to take my sister's body. And when we had her cremated, and when I would feel her energy, I would just know at the deepest level that this was all part of her journey. And that this week of her memorial, of this amazing week that happened in 1993, that there is a power for good in the universe greater than we are, and we really, truly can use it without judging anyone's process or how they make their own decisions. It's not up for us to judge. Consciousness just allows. It allows the beauty of love, of nature, of wisdom to come rushing in to acknowledge that there is a power for good in the universe greater than we are, and we can use it. It's consciousness. It's the way through. It's taking the higher road. It's acknowledging that I can choose love instead of whatever else is on the plate, that I can choose peace, and I can choose compassion. And through having compassion for the human condition, we open the space for our own miracles, because the only way out is through. And when we understand that, that absolutely changes everything. So I just want to send this energy out to anyone who's hurting about anyone moving off the planet. Death is not extinguishing the light, it's turning off the lamp, because dawn has come in whatever form that dawn is for them. And Dr. Ernest Holmes said beautifully, what is death but the impatient gesture of the soul to rid itself of a body it no longer needs? Today, we're here because we choose to be. We want a quality of life, and we open the space to allow God to do what God does best by means of us. Do you believe that? Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And where are we going? Where? Where are we going? Higher yet. And so it is. God bless you. And I love you.